In the world of modern fitness, overflowing with scientific studies, muscle activity sensors, and endless debates over the purity of biomechanics, one unspoken rule reigns supreme. Technique is sacred. For decades, we've been told the same mantra: any deviation from a straight back, any extra momentum from the torso, or the use of inertia is not just a mistake, but a direct path to injury and failure. Social media is cluttered with experts measuring joint angles in other people's exercises with digital rulers. But if we close the textbooks for a moment and open the archives of the golden and platinum eras of bodybuilding, we see a picture that completely contradicts this sterile doctrine. When you watch the training footage of Arnold Schwarzenegger, Tom Plotz, Dorian Yates, or Ronnie Coleman, you don't see perfect robots, you see a struggle. You see massive weights flying up, driven by a powerful impulse from the entire body. You see a barbell curl performed with a distinct sway of the hips and a bent-over row that looks more like a wrestling match with a wild beast than a controlled movement. Does this mean the greatest athletes in history were illiterate or ignorant of anatomy? Absolutely not. It means they understood something deeper. Cheating is not a lack of technique, it is the highest form of mastery, a tool that allows one to cross a threshold inaccessible to mere mortals. For a professional, clean technique is merely a basic foundation, an alphabet one must learn before they can start writing their own rules. The problem with perfect technique is that it is too comfortable for the body. Our body is a master of adaptation and survival. It does not want to grow massive muscles because it is energetically inefficient. When you work strictly by the book, your body quickly finds the path of least resistance and progress stalls. Professionals use cheating to create controlled stress that knocks the nervous system out of balance. In this chapter, we deconstruct the very concept of correctness. Why does clean range of motion eventually become the enemy of hypertrophy? The main reason lies in overcoming the adaptation plateau. Once a muscle gets used to a fixed trajectory, it stops responding. Cheating introduces an element of unpredictability. By using inertia, the athlete blasts through sticking points, those specific parts of the movement where biomechanics make us weakest. Instead of ending a set because of weakness at one specific point, the pro uses his entire body to propel the weight higher, loading the target muscle in phases where it is still capable of generating colossal force. The legacy of the golden era teaches us an intuitive approach. Arnold didn't just lift, he felt every millimeter of the movement. If maximizing blood flow and making the muscle burn required adding a hip thrust or leaning the back, he did it without hesitation. This was an era where results stood above theory. Cheating allowed them to move weights that were theoretically too heavy for them. And it was these extreme weights that created that incredible density and thickness of muscularity that we so rarely see today. It was a philosophy of intentional chaos, breaking the minor rules of biomechanics to obey the ultimate law of evolution, growth under pressure. Professionals understood that it is better to perform 5 dirty reps with 100 kilograms than 10 perfect ones with 50, because only extreme weight is capable of waking up those muscle fibers that sleep during comfortable training sessions. Moving from philosophy to practice, we must understand cheating in the hands of a professional is not random convulsing, it is a finely tuned biomechanical maneuver. While a beginner uses momentum to make their life easier, a champion uses it to make the exercise unbearably hard. In this chapter, we break down the mechanics of what I call smart cheating. It is the art of load distribution, where inertia serves only as a catalyst for achieving a deeper level of failure. The key factor here is working with weights that are physiologically impossible to lift in strict form. When we talk about the sticking point, we mean the specific segment of the amplitude where the leverage of our bones and joints is at its weakest. In a strict barbell curl, this is the midpoint. Once you get stuck there, the set is over, but a professional uses an impulse from the legs or lower back to punch through this barrier. Why? To move the muscle into the peak contraction phase and, more importantly, to emphasize the eccentric phase, the lowering of the weight. Science has proven that the negative phase of movement causes the most microtrauma to muscle fibers, which is the primary trigger for growth. By cheating on the way up, the athlete gains the ability to control the descent of a weight that is 20 to 30% heavier than his strict maximum. It's pure hypertrophy math. More weight on the negative equals more muscle growth. We must analyze the phenomenon of ligamentous drive. When Dorian Yates or Ronnie Coleman performed rows with massive weights using explosive tugs, they weren't just training the muscle belly, they were training the entire tendon apparatus. Heavy, dirty training creates immense tissue density. Professionals understood that isolation is a myth created for magazines. The body works as a single kinetic chain. Cheating allows this chain to engage at full power. Instead of switching off auxiliary muscles, pros force them to work in synergy. This creates a massive systemic load on the body, triggering a powerful hormonal response. You will never get the same surge of testosterone and growth hormone from a sterile leg extension machine as you will from heavy, dirty squats or rows. Special attention should be given to so-called cheat reps at the end of a set. This is a method of intensity extension. When you have reached failure in strict form, your muscles haven't died, they simply no longer can work in isolation. By adding a bit of inertia, you allow the auxiliary muscles to help the target group complete 3 or 4 more repetitions. This forces the athlete into the red zone, where the nervous system is working at its limit. It is in these seconds, when the face is distorted in pain and technique is falling apart, that the fate of a Mr. Olympia title is decided. Professionals aren't afraid to look ugly in the gym. They're afraid to look small on stage. Safety in this mode is a question of experience. A pro's muscles are so massive that they act as biological shock absorbers protecting the joints. Their nervous system is so refined that they can feel the edge where cheating turns into injury. It is a controlled explosion. They don't just throw the weight, they manage the chaos. We see how dirty work becomes the most effective tool for creating extreme volume. It is a mechanic of survival in the world of heavy iron, where the only rule is the absence of rules for those ready to go to the end. In the final chapter of our investigation, we must look into the very core. Why, despite all the risks and criticism, the dirty style became the trademark of the greatest athletes in history. It isn't a question of physiology, it is a question of psychology and what we call the old school spirit. When a weight capable of crushing an ordinary man is on the bar, fear and caution take a back seat. All that remains is the pure intent to bend that iron to your will. In this moment, cheating ceases to be a mere technical trick and becomes an act of aggression, a declaration of the right to dominate. We must admit, bodybuilding at the Olympia level is an extreme activity and it demands extreme methods. Past professionals such as Tom Platz or Branch Warren understood that aesthetics are born from brutality. Their workouts looked terrifying because they were trying to reach the body's reserves that nature locked away for our own safety. Cheating is the key to these reserves. It is a way to hack biological limiters. When you see Ronnie Coleman tossing 200-pound dumbbells, you are seeing a man who consciously chose risk to become a god of flesh and blood. This training style created a specific muscle texture, the maturity and depth that is impossible to mimic in modern machines where the trajectory is dictated by an engineer, not your instinct. However, today we observe a strange paradox. The modern fitness industry tries to erase this spirit, replacing it with safe and scientifically grounded sterility. But along with clean technique, that incredible density that made past champions look like statues carved from stone is disappearing. We must reach an important conclusion. The technique of champions is a privilege earned by years of a perfect foundation. The problem isn't cheating itself, it's that those who haven't yet learned to feel their muscles are trying to use it. Professionals broke the rules not because they were lazy, but because they outgrew them. For them, clean work became too easy, too predictable. To grow further, they had to step outside the boundaries. In conclusion, the history of bodybuilding is a history of fighting limitations. Cheating was and remains the tool of those ready to pay the price for results. It is a choice of efficiency over appearance. We see how Arnold's incorrect movements and Coleman's insane sets ultimately led them to the top of Mount Olympus. This is a reminder to each of us. In the pursuit of the perfect physique, do not be afraid to get your hands dirty sometimes. True power does not live in biomechanics textbooks. It lives where the comfort zone ends, where the clang of iron drowns out the voice of reason, and where one dirty rep is worth 10 clean ones. Because ultimately, history remembers not those who technically lifted light weights, but those who made the world tremble under a weight no one else dared to touch. This was the truth about how breaking the rules created legends, and why in the hands of a master, even chaos becomes art.